British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon, I'm Lyra Masamba, and here are your 12:30 news. Starting with the government, 11 BC companies are receiving provincial funding aimed at helping local businesses expand and reach new markets. Innovate BC says the funding comes through its Go-to-Market microgrant program. Each company could receive up to $50,000 to strengthen sales, marketing, and commercialization efforts. The province says the funding will support businesses working in sectors including artificial intelligence, health technology, agri-food, and advanced manufacturing. Finance Minister Brenda Bailey says the grants are designed to help local companies grow and compete globally. With spring in full swing and summer coming in, people are wanting to get outside. Reporter Noah Peck explains the dangers of hiking.
Hiking becomes a popular activity in the spring and summer. Locals look to enjoy the sun after a gloomy winter. They can underestimate the difficulty of hikes around Vancouver. In the last few weeks, there have been several search and rescue efforts to save ill-equipped hikers. As the summer months approach, tourists come to visit Vancouver. These tourists are even more likely to underestimate local hikes as they are not familiar with the area. If you are unsure about the proper equipment and safety precautions to take, the North Shore Search and Rescue has an education section on their website. Noah Peckham, BCIT News.
Now, when talking about school, Education Minister Paul Calandra says the province cannot interfere in denominational decisions made by Catholic school boards, even those boards are under provincial supervision.
Trustees at the Dufferin-Peel Catholic District School Board voted 2 years ago against allowing flags marking Pride and other events. The board is now one of 8 under provincial supervision, and last fall Calandra directed it to change its flag policy to fly orange flags on the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. But Calandra says the orange flags were not a denominational issue, and all he can do on the Pride flag is direct the trustees to meet and reconsider their decision. Allison Jones, The Canadian Press, Toronto.
The comments come after requests for the province to step in, following the board's decision not to raise the Pride flag during Pride Month. Economically, Canadians continue to feel the pressure at the checkout line as grocery prices rise faster than overall inflation. New data from Statistics Canada show food prices purchased from stores rose more than 4% compared to last year. Economists say higher costs for items like fresh vegetables, beef, and household staples are continuing to strain family budgets across the country.
Just coming for fruits, almost $42, and just fruits.
Canada's food price report predicts the average family of 4 could spend nearly $1,000 more on groceries this year compared to 2025. A new survey suggests many telecom customers remain hesitant about using AI for customer service need. Reporter Robert Westgate has the story.
That's the upshot from new global research by Ipsos Canada, which was shared Tuesday during a presentation at the 25th Annual Canadian Telecom Summit in Toronto. The role of AI in telecom, from network development to customer service, is one of the key themes at this year's conference, which wraps up today. The research firm's Cameron McFadden says satisfaction is lacking among telecom customers in their usage of AI, but there is an opportunity for companies to improve. He says customers generally still prefer to speak with a human when dealing with a complex issue. However, many are open to using AI to research plan pricing and help them decide whether to switch providers. Rob Westgate, The Canadian Press.
And for international relations, U.S. President Donald Trump received a high-profile welcome in Beijing, ahead of talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The arrival ceremony included a military honor guard, a military band, and hundreds of young people waving Chinese and American flags. Trump visits marks the start of a high-stakes summit between the two countries. Formal talks are expected to begin Thursday and focus on issues including the war in Iran, trade tensions, and U.S. arms sales to Taiwan. And in entertainment news, Canadian music icon Shania Twain is revisiting her roots with a brand new album. Twain announced her 7th studio album, Little Miss Twain, set for release on July 24th. The country pop star says the project reflects on her teenage years growing up in Northern Ontario and the experience that shaped her career. And that's all for now. I'm Laura Masamba, and you're listening to BCIT, The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Trettanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good afternoon, I'm Jana Ali, and these are your sports headlines at 12:40. New York Islanders defenseman Matthew Schaefer has been awarded the Calder Memorial Trophy as the NHL's top rookie. He is the first unanimous winner since Winnipeg Jets forward Teemu Selanne in 1992-1993, after earning the first-place vote on all 198 ballots cast. In PWHL news, the PWHL announced 2 new expansion teams for the 2026-27 season. Las Vegas, Nevada, and Hamilton, Ontario will receive the teams. PWHL Las Vegas will play its home games at the T-Mobile Arena, while PWHL Hamilton will play out of the TD Coliseum. This comes after Detroit was announced to get a team as well. Jason White has more.
The PWHL has announced it's expanding to Hamilton and Las Vegas. That'll bring the total number of teams to 11 after the league announced the addition of Detroit last week. Hamilton's yet-to-be-named team will play out of the recently renovated 18,000-seat TD Coliseum. Now, the PWHL could still reveal another expansion team. Its stated plan was to add 2 to 4 more clubs for next season. Jason White, The Canadian Press.
Premier David Eby is scheduled to meet this week with representatives from the Whitecaps, MLS, the City of Vancouver, and local First Nations to discuss keeping the team in Vancouver. The Board of Trade says the Whitecaps bring in hundreds of thousands of fans downtown each season, supporting the hospitality, retail, and tourism sectors. In the NHL, the Colorado Avalanche are 1 win away from knocking out the Minnesota Wild from the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Wild will lean heavily on its top defensive pairings in Brock Faber and Quinn Hughes, as those two have been excellent not only in this series, but the entire playoffs. The two teams will face off tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This morning, the Maple Leafs announced that the club has fired coach Craig Berube. He guided the team to the last-place finish in the Atlantic Division this season. The move ended Berube's 2-year run with the Maple Leafs. He helped the club to a 108-point campaign in his first season as coach, but Toronto struggled in the 2025-26 season.
This is a bigger picture decision, and it's not just about a coach. It's, Matt and I have spent, like I said, the last 10 days or so meeting with everyone from the chefs to talking to some of the players and everything in between, and just feel like there's some things that we need to change and do better and be better, and certainly that starts with Matt and myself at the top.
There's less than a month to go before the FIFA World Cup begins in the co-host countries of Canada, America, and Mexico. The BC government has yet to unveil how much it will cost for Vancouver to stage 7 of the soccer games. Premier David Eby says he's asked his team to provide the numbers before the end of the month.
It is a key piece of information for the public, but the legacies that will be created by this game, whether it's community sports fields, or the improvements here to the stadium that will create lines of revenue, or the opportunity to develop and enhance relationships with business partners or tourists from around the world, is significant and hard to understate.
In the local sports scene, as track meets continue across Richmond, parents have launched a petition against the Richmond School District's track and field changes. Our reporter Tyler Bereskin has more details.
The district removed the gender barrier while also dropping parts of the competitive aspect to offer students more opportunities to participate. A petition has been started by Kim Nowitzki, a Richmond parent, to try and revert these changes. With over 2,000 signatures, the petition says the competitive aspect is important to track, adding that athletic accomplishments should be recognized as much as academic ones. The school district says that students still have the opportunity to participate competitively, but only if they choose to. Both sides have very different viewpoints on how to encourage more female student participation. Tyler Bereskin, BCIT News.
Cristiano Ronaldo's 6th and likely World Cup will be the first for the Portugal great since he left Europe to play in Saudi Arabia. I'm Jana Ali, and these were your sports headlines at 12:40.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good afternoon, I'm Chloe Lawler. Here are your 1250 sports updates. New York Islanders defenseman Matthew Schaefer has won the Calder Memorial Trophy after being selected first overall in the 2025 NHL Draft Schaefer is the youngest winner at 18 years and 223 days. The young Islander recorded 23 goals and 59 points this season and led all rookies in ice time with 2,023 minutes. Montreal Canadian forward Ivan Demidov finished second in the rankings, with Ducks winger Beckett Seneca being behind in third. The Toronto Maple Leafs had fired head coach Craig Berube after 2 seasons. General manager John Chayka says the team will take their time to find Berube's replacement.
No timeline. Certainly, there's key milestones that are coming up, and so certainly, running an efficient process matters. But like I said, we're going to take our time and do a very wide search and talk to a lot of people, and ultimately, how that goes and the quality of the candidates that we come at the time we do will dictate a lot of that.
Chayka says he will conduct a wide-ranging search for a head coach as the Leafs look to rebound from a last-place finish in the Atlantic Division. The PWHL is expanding with the addition of 2 new teams, Las Vegas and Hamilton, Ontario. There's still one more addition to make in order to make it an even 12. The Vegas team will be introduced at a press conference on Wednesday, with Hamilton's team following on Thursday. This announcement comes a little over a year after the introduction of Seattle and Vancouver in the Pacific Northwest. In the NHL today, the Minnesota Wild and Colorado Avalanche face off in Game 5. The series is currently 3-1 in Colorado's favor. The Wild's head coach, John Hines, spoke in a press conference earlier today about the significance of today's game.
But I think it's the same thing for us, some things that we have to get to that we didn't get to the right way. And usually as the series goes on, you just continue to see those tweaks, and every game presents a different challenge.
The do-or-die game for the Wild starts at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at the Ball Arena. Moving on to soccer, there's less than a month to go before the FIFA World Cup begins in the co-host countries of Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. The BC government has yet to unveil how much it will cost for Vancouver to stage 7 of the soccer games. Premier David Eby says he's asked his team to provide the numbers before the end of the month.
It is a key piece of information for the public, but the legacies that will be created by this game, whether it's community sports fields or the improvements here to the stadium that will create lines of revenue, or the opportunity to develop and enhance relationships with business partners or tourists from around the world, is significant and hard to understate.
Last June, BC pegged its cost at between $532 and $624 million, including a $196 million upgrade of BC Place. Vancouver's first game will be June 13th, while Toronto will host 6 of the games beginning June 12th. Bossard Farms are helping with the World Cup grass. The farm is helping with the real grass at BC Place for the World Cup. Reporter Trevor Weinbrenner with more.
BC Place usually has artificial turf, but that will change for the World Cup. Bossard Farms is a local farm in Abbotsford that is helping produce the field and grass. The players were coming out and saying they wouldn't play on the artificial turf. The switch came after years of players concerned for the safety of injury that could account on the artificial turf. The big change was after star soccer player Lionel Messi didn't come to play in a regular season game in Vancouver due to the artificial turf. Without the help of Bossard Farms, this wouldn't be possible. Trevor Weinbrenner, BCIT News.
In baseball today, the Toronto Blue Jays play the Tampa Bay Rays at 4 p.m. local time, and the Seattle Mariners play the Houston Astros. I've been Chloe Lawler. Thanks for listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikka-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikka-King.